Hello and welcome to this point here. So in this case, I would actually want us to check on the approximate tax rate, that is an equal tax rate or a next smaller. So in this point here, you will actually realize that I have the sales 250,000 and 465,000. So you will see that we do not actually have 250,000 here, neither do we actually have 465,000 here. But in this point here, I would actually want us to use the approximate match so that we can actually return the next smaller. So the next smaller in this point here, you can actually check that 250,000 is actually very close to this point. It's actually in between 200,001 and 400,001. So it's actually in between these two. So because it's actually in between the two, it's actually greater than 200,001 and less than 400,001. So the next smaller, that is, we actually round it down. So after rounding it down, it becomes 200,001. That is, we go to the next smaller. So just before it. So the next smaller, because 250,000 is actually in between these two. So we actually approximate it by going to the next smaller cell, then we return the respective tax rate. So we return the respective tax rate of the next smaller cell, and that one will be the approximate match. So let's actually go. It's equivalent to X lookup like that. You actually open, this is actually the lookup value on G21, comma. The lookup array is actually from this point here, that's for the cells, it's from G12 to G18, comma. The return array is actually on the tax rate like that, that is H12 to H18, comma, it will ask you if not found. In our case, we'll actually skip that because we are not actually focusing on that. So another comma, then it will actually ask you exact match, which is actually a 0, exact match or smaller item. Yes, in this case, we would actually want to have exact match or next smaller item. So double click on it like that. So for the exact match or the next smaller item, that is if it won't get 250,000, that is actually the exact match, then return the tax rate for the next smaller item. So 250,000, the next smaller item is actually 200,001, the tax rate is 4%. So close the HLOOKUP function, hit enter on the keyboard, 4%. That's it. Now, for the next one is equivalent to XLOOKUP again like that. Then you actually open it up. This is actually the lookup value on G22, comma. This is actually the lookup array. The lookup array is where we actually do have the lookup value. That's G12 to G18. Another comma, the return array. The return array. In this point, you would actually want to return the tax rates. So select H12 to H18, comma, if not found. So you actually skip that. Then it will ask you on this point exact match or next smaller item. Double click on it like that. Yes, we would like to return the exact match or the next smaller item, meaning it will actually look for 465,000 in this point here. If it won't actually get the 465,000, then it will actually return the next smaller item. In this point, you check that 465,000 is actually in between 400,001 and 600,001. So the next smaller one will be 400,001 and the respective tax rate is 5%. Close, hit enter on the keyboard, it's actually 5%. So that's it. Now, before we actually do continue, I would actually urge you to subscribe to this YouTube channel and also follow me on my X account. This is my X account. Follow me so that you can actually build the biggest X account. Then you can also come to this. Point here, and inside this point here, you can get access to my Google courses. You can get access to my Excel courses. I have 20 Excel courses here. That's from the beginner level to intermediate level to advanced level. So I have many of them like that. 20. Yes, a total of 20. So with just $100, you get access to my Google Drive account so that you can actually learn how you can use Excel in data analytics. So when the site is actually back, you won't actually lose your access. You will be added to the website so that you can continue with your access. So down here, you actually realize that I will also be accepting projects from you. That's from the from the monthly subscription to the one-time task. So for the monthly subscription, cloud in Excel prompting, dashboards and charts, automation, pivot tables and models, Power BI, financial forecast, templates management, all this for just $550 a month. Imagine that. And for the one-time task, that is the dashboards, analysis and insights, smart macros, Power BI reports, it actually ranges from $150 to $300 only. But remember, on this point here, you will also be having a point for the templates. So you can get me the templates so you can actually get me the templates work so that I can design for you the templates. After designing for you the templates, I can also manage it for you monthly at just $50. And these are the $50. So these are the templates you can also get me so that I can design for you. That's the sales performance templates, HR templates, inventory templates, personal finance templates, business dashboard templates, reporting templates, and many more. So you can just get in touch with me so that we can design the templates and do everything else. And this here is actually my email. So get in touch with me using this email so that we can communicate on the projects, on how you can assess the courses and learn. That's mastering Excel. So let's check in this point here for the approximate grade. That's the equal or next smaller. So in this point here, you will actually realize that I do not have that 7 here in the array, and neither do I actually have 67. So let's actually see how we can use the XLOOKUP so that we can return the next smaller. So that we can return the grade for the next smaller score. So let's actually go. So is equivalent to XLOOKUP like that. You actually open. This is actually my lookup value, comma, it will ask you for the lookup array. So this lookup value is actually located in this lookup array like that. Then another comma, it will ask you for the return array. I would actually want to return the grade. So you select from up there, which is actually from M12 to M18, comma, it will ask you if not found. In my case, I'm not actually interested with that. So another comma, it will ask you exact match, which is actually a 0, exact match or next smaller item. So I'll actually double click on this. So it's actually -1. So what it will actually do in this point here, that's closing the XLOOKUP function. So it will actually look up for that 7 in this point here. If it won't actually get that exact match for that 7, it will return the next smaller item. That is the grade for the next smaller score. So that 7 is actually in between that 1 and 41. Yes, so that 7 is in between that 1 and 41. So in this point here, because 41 is actually bigger than that 7, it will have to return the next smaller one, which is actually for that 1, and the grade will be a D. So just like that, it's actually a D. In this point 2, we can also write XLOOKUP like that. You open, it will ask you for the lookup value, which is actually on L22, the lookup array. So this lookup value is actually located on this array like that. You select another comma, it will ask you for the return array. So for the grades, I will actually select this point like that, comma, it will ask you for if not found. So I will also have another if not found. So I'll also add another comma to skip that. Then I'll just double click on exact match or next smaller item. So double click on it like that. Then you have to close it. So in this point here, it will actually look for 67. You can actually check that I do not have 67 in my scores, but 67 is actually in between 61 and 75. So because it's actually in between 61 and 75, and because it's actually in between 61 and because it's actually in between 61 and 75, what we'll actually do in this point is to return the next smaller. So after 67, the next smaller item is actually 61, and the grade for that 61 is A stand, just like that. Hit enter on the keyboard, we have A, just like that. So let's also check in the next video how we will also be doing for the next larger item. That's the next larger tax rate or the next larger grade. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next video.